Hello guys, thank you for tuning into Law Talks and Gist. If you are a returning subscriber, you're seeing my face for the first time, you're welcome. Where have you been? So let's talk about assault and battery, which is the commonest crimes, misdemeanors in Nigeria and beyond. I know you've heard of assault and battery countless times, and in case you didn't know, assault is a crime. Yes, it is a crime. So in this video, we're going to look at what constitutes assault and battery and the punishment. Now let's dive into the video. What is assault? Assault is simply putting someone in apprehension of fear or injury. Let's look at the definition of assault as stipulated in our criminal code, the Nigerian Criminal Code. So section 252 of the Criminal Code provides a person who strikes, touches, or moves or otherwise applies force of any kind to the person of another, either directly or indirectly, without his consent or with his consent, if the consent is obtained by fraud, or who by any bodily act or gesture attempts or threatens to apply force of any kind to the person of another without his consent. In such circumstances, that person making the attempt or threat has actually or apparently a present ability to affect his purpose is said to assault that other person, and the act is called an assault. So assault denotes any act which puts a person in fear of imminent battery. For example, if you do this to someone, if I slap you, or I will, so you're threatening the person, putting that person in fear of battery, putting that person in fear of injury, and maybe the person escapes one way or the other. That is assault. And now battery is the actual injury, the cause of actual injury to the person. So if you slap the person, if you go ahead to now slap the person, that is battery. So oftentimes you'd hear people say, oh, I was assaulted. Meanwhile, there was nothing like assault. Okay, so for there to be an assault, for you to succeed in an action for assault, there has to be, number one, apprehension of fear. There must be some kind of threat from the other person that, I will do this, and you are in fear, okay, and maybe you try to escape it or anything of some sort. So there has to be a movement on the other party trying to harm you. So with that, there is an apprehension of fear. But if there is no apprehension of fear, and then that person causes the harm direct, that will be battery. For instance, someone hits you from behind, someone slaps you, you didn't even see it coming, and then the next thing you heard was wham. That is battery, because there was no apprehension of fear. And then number two, going by section 252 of the Criminal Code, for there to be assault, there shouldn't be any form of consent from you. If you consent to the assault, then that is not assault. For instance, a sport combat, maybe wrestling, boxing. So you cannot come and say that the person that is hitting you, that what is happening there is assault and battery. Meanwhile, you consented. That will not suffice. Sometimes there is battery without assault, and then sometimes assault. After assault, there comes battery, where someone threatens you, I'm going to hit you, and then the person actually hits you. Then that is assault and battery at the same time. So now, let's look at the things that constitutes battery, because there are so many things that people do that constitutes battery, but because people overlook it, it now looks like a normal thing. It looks normal, which is not normal. The most common of all of them is someone touching you without your consent. Maybe you're just walking in the market or on the road, and then the next thing someone hits you or holds your hand. It is very common if you're a typical Nigerian and you have been in an area where you go to the market, for especially area markets, Onisha market, Balogun market, all those places where you have touts, we call them agbero. Most times you'll see them, they will call you, or they call you by a name that they just suggest for you. They will just call you by any random name and then hold you. That is battery. Okay, that is battery. It is wrong. So if you do it to people, please don't do it again. Battery can happen without the other person knowing. Yes, when the other person is not aware. For instance, kissing a sleeping lady is battery. In case you did not know, you didn't have her consent to do that, so that is battery. Pouring someone water, you may say that water is harmless, or even if it is cold water, you think that, oh, it's not hurting the person and all of that. That is battery. Now, conducting a surgical operation on someone without the person's consent is also battery. This one has an exception if it is required in an emergency situation to save the person's life. It will not constitute battery. So those are the common things that I can use as an example to explain to you what battery is, what constitutes battery. So finally, let's look at the punishment for assault and battery as provided for under our Nigerian Criminal Code. Let's read section 351 together. Okay, so section 351 of the Criminal Code provides, any person who unlawfully assaults another is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable, if no greater punishment is provided, to imprisonment for 1 year. So if it is misdemeanor, it is 1 year imprisonment. Let's look at section 355 of the same Criminal Code, what it says. It provides thus: any person who unlawfully assaults another and thereby does him harm is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for 3 years. So you can see the difference between the provision of section 351. In that case, there is no infliction of harm, so it is a misdemeanor and it is punishable with 1 year imprisonment. But now section 355 says when there is harm, when harm has been caused, it is now a felony and punishable with 3 years imprisonment. So please, if you have been doing this or you have someone who has been doing this, please stop. You may be prosecuted and punished if it can be established that you have the capacity, that you have the ability to cause that harm. Going by section 252 that defined assault. And most especially also, if you have any track record, yes, if there is any record of you having committed this kind of offense in the past, sorry, you will be punished. So please do what is right. I hope this helps. If you watched to this point and you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just click on the subscribe button, like this video, drop a comment, share, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so as to be notified each time there is an upload coming from me. At this point, I say thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video.